because he was talking about is leadership, like a skill or a talent? Like, is it something you can learn or something you're born with? And I mentioned
Yeah.
to you, like, is it something that, like, do we really get to choose in the black community? I always thought it was more like you kind of have to be a leader in some capacity.
Mm.
And we never really talked about it at length at the time because obviously you're running this whole operation. But
Yeah.
it'd be cool now to run back and talk about it in a bit more depth. Like, my view hasn't really changed. I still feel like as black people, we're kind of forced to be leaders, to show up and act a certain way and to be a certain type of individual. Because otherwise, we become a statistic, right? We become a
Mm.
stereotype, which is the last thing we want to be. But like,
Mm.
has your view on that changed at all, or what do you think in general? Like, are we allowed to be leaders, or
Man, that's
it's a big one still?
it's a big one. It's a thing of like, when I look at life, I just think no matter who you are, no matter what you're doing in your life, you're going to be a leader in some way, shape, or form. And if
Mm,
you're not, if you whether implicitly or explicitly, and if you're not, then you're probably not doing what you should be doing in your life, and there's probably consequences surrounding that, which is why you're not being a leader in that perspective. Like, because even from the littlest sense of like, okay, cool, and then obviously I see now why the black people aspect, but even if we take away the black people aspect of it and we take a look at, I don't know, just I'm trying to go for another group. Okay, cool. Let's stay on black people because if I go for another group, I can't
yeah, it'll
really
take a while.
group. But if we look at from a black people aspect, it's like obviously there's no denying certain stereotypes that are formed about black people, especially from the UK, especially them from London, that black people are going to face being placed on them from a very very young age. But I guess I can't really. I would say for me, if I extract SFW and I extract ACF and all that kind of thing, even from just me conducting myself on a day-to-day perspective, because of the fact that I don't fit a number of those stereotypes, and I guess because of my family and my background have always, almost always had that, I guess, drive to quote unquote succeed. Um,
Mm,
that's often caused not even just me to get leadership roles or whatever, but for people to look at me and see me as a certain way just because of the way I conduct myself and the way that I'm being. So my answer to that is like, I feel like any again, stay on black people, any black person that's I don't want to say succeeding, but like doing something well,
yeah,
whether or not they realize it, is probably going to be an influence to somebody else, be it somebody that's younger than them, be it somebody that's not taking the kind of steps that individual is taking. There is always going to be that level of, oh, this person's kind of inspiring's a bit strong, but like someone
yeah,
someone to look at and just feel like, oh right, this person's doing something wicked and that kind of thing.
mm,
And I feel like that's just because of the way the UK system has, or not UK system, the UK system has kind of used black people as a whole, and pre us and now currently with us as well. So when people say, do you, because you're black, do you have to be a leader? I'd say from like a proper, have a position, have this, have that. No, you don't have to. You can just be you. But whether or not you like it, you're likely going to inspire somebody if you're not conforming to what people will see when they watch black people on TV, basically.
yeah.
And that's just that's it's unfortunate that that's the way our society is. It's unfortunate that realization of, oh, I can be wicked even though I'm X, Y, or Z has to exist, but it's the way it is, and it's about the way you navigate that, acknowledging that as an individual, I think, anyway. But yeah, what's your view on it?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I kind of mimic what you were saying as well, but I would word it a bit differently. I feel like just by being black, you're kind of born into a world of scrutiny, a world of like everything you do is judged in a certain way. And it's like similar to what you were saying, like if you're anyone who's like kind of successful, you're automatically a role model. You're automatically like let's say you're like, look at Stormzy. He's like the black rapper. He's like the British, the face of British rap. And you're kind of like, if
Yeah,
you are an upcoming black artist, it's like you're kind of one
Asbury.
source.
Yeah,
Yeah. Whereas if you're white or any other race, you kind of have, well, not any other, but I suppose predominantly if you're white, if you want to be like an actor, there's a whole range of, hundreds of
people you
different actors
could.
you could
Yeah.
aspire to be.
Mm.
And it's tight because that scrutiny, I feel like, whether you're Stormzy or like, some random year 13 and sixth form, you still have someone looking at you in a certain way that means that as a black person, at least in my experience, I don't feel like I've really been allowed to make mistakes because as soon as I like do something wrong, it's like, oh, you're a typical
You're
black person.
labeled
Or,
with that. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. And it's like, I guess that's a bit different to being a leader, but I guess in my like for me as an older brother, it's always been like, oh, I don't want to be the dumb brother. I got to like set the bar for my little brothers. Or I got to set the bar for my cousins. Or it's always been an external push. I've never really had to been to form my own motivation. A lot of the time, it's been
Yeah.
extrinsic, and having that background force pushing me forward has always been like you have to lead in that capacity, otherwise you're disappointing, I guess, or you're not doing your job if you're letting that quota down.
But you know what? In a way, I've almost, I guess, because I'm also probably coming at this from a very different perspective from a lot of people, but I've almost been grateful for that because I've liked having that. No. You've demonstrated your ability to be lit. Don't slop now kind of thing be around from the start. I've loved having that. And I've loved having that because I've always been able to, whilst having that in me, look around and see other people that also have that in them and how they're developing. So like people that are getting older and they're progressing and that kind of thing. Like I've really enjoyed having that pressure, but I guess that's just because of the way I've responded to the pressure, I guess. But again, man, it's just a matter of what you make of it and what your aspirations are as an individual. But I don't feel any black person as a whole should be like, oh, I have to be, the CEO because I have to show them that black people can be CEO. What's your own?
Yeah,
What's your business? It's okay. If you're not CEO, there are 50 other black CEOs. It's okay. Like, take that pressure off of you. But definitely, I've enjoyed the push for myself anyway.
I get that. It's funny, like I used to have a lot of what's the terminology for it? I guess like survivor's bias.
Yeah.
I've always felt like, oh, like I'm because you're always taught in school like, oh, the Africans that are hungry or like black soldiers, blah blah blah. You're always put in a position where it's like, oh, people are worse off than me. So me being like quote unquote lucky for being born here, like I've got to make the most of it. And having that, that sort of guilt carrying around has been crazy, to be honest. But then, like similar to what you're saying, you realize that hold on, like I've got this energy behind me. That's gonna be, that's why I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, not because I have to make an image for the next generation, but just because like this is my life. I'm gonna do things the way I'm gonna do it based on my advantages above other people in some sort of. Yeah, it's nuts, man. It's nuts. I do feel like I was thinking the other day about Stormzy, like a funny example to go back to. But I don't know if you up to date at all with his beef with Wiley a little while back.
I saw that on social media. I was just like, what's
I didn't tune in.
It seemed like it seemed like you said that we should do this. You said that we should go and build homes in Ghana. Yeah, but that's before you were so we're not gonna build homes in Ghana. It just seemed a bit like, guys, like one of you is a legend that was lit back in the day and still has that legendary aspect. One of you is killing the game now. Why? What's the point?
Why the beef? Yeah.
I didn't even look into it. I don't know what started it or anything, but when I saw that, I was just like, oh, okay, whatever.
Yeah, it is what it is. I hear that. To be fair, like I didn't look into it much either, but I remember seeing like a chain of tweets, like how Black Twitter goes, and they were saying like how Stormzy started off talking about grime. He's a grime artist. Now he's making pop music, and he's, he started off looking out for the black community, but now he's not. And I was like, initially I was like, oh, screw Stormzy, man. He's got to look out.
Hold on, isn't this the Stormzy that paid how much for scholarships for people or something?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
people need to go sit down.
It's nuts. But it's similar, like, because people always put him in that bracket, like you're, a black grime artist, so you have to be a grime artist. You have to be there for the other black people coming up in grime. But
Yeah,
like, similar to what we were just saying with the whole black leadership thing, it's like, no, he doesn't. He can literally do whatever the hell he wants just because he made it this way. And even in my opinion, like I don't want to go too much into that beef because I don't really care that much for either
yeah,
artist. But it's like Stormzy's always been unapologetically black in some way. Like you mentioned the scholarship, he's always talked about his experience as a black man. That you'd
yeah.
think would be a
Enough.
differentiator between like he's not a bum or a sellout by any means, but
Yeah,
I digress.
yeah. Man, I just feel like no matter what you do, unfortunately, because of the way oh, no matter what you do, you're always gonna have critics and people that are gonna make comments, make comments, make comments. But all you have to do is look at those people and say, look, I'm doing me. I've achieved X, Y, and Z. When you have this same box of accomplishments in front of you, then you can tell me, and you have done some things differently to how I did them. Then we can have a conversation. You can educate, and you can help me from a point of experience. But if you're not in the same industry as me, if you're not doing what I'm doing, if you're not trying to get to where I am right now or where I'm trying to get to, don't advise me. Don't comment that you think I'm doing things wrong because that's not your business. Like Stormzy's done amazing things for the black community, for the low income community, for everything. And I just feel like haters are gonna hate, man. It's long, but they're gonna hate. It's like,
Words.
you know.
Yeah, people never really know what you do behind closed doors, and they always look
Exactly.
out for the negative things.